our two guests. Our two guests today, I'll let them introduce themselves. So could we please start with Miss Lam? Could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, everyone. My name is Lam. Just call me Lam. My full name is quite long. Yeah. I'm from Nha Trang University in the city of Nha Trang in the south coast central of Vietnam. Nice to see all of you here.
Fantastic and great. And could you say which your position and your role and what kind of work that you do?
Okay. I am a teacher of English. I've been teaching English since 1997. Yeah, and at the moment, I am the Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, Nha Trang University.
Maybe you did say it and I didn't hear it, but thank you very much. Next, we have Miss Quinn. Dr. Quinn, could you please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and what work you do?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Bùi Thị Thục Quyên, and I'm the full-time lecturer of the Faculty of Foreign Languages at Ho Chi Minh City Open University, and also I'm the head of the Department of non-major foreign languages. I have more than 30 years teaching English to students of different levels, including undergraduate and graduate students. And also, I used to work as the academic supervisor for language centers and also specialists, program specialists. And I have involved in the National Foreign Language Project 2020. So with that experience, I have a chance to experience myself, and also to encounter different teachers teaching in the classroom, and I have listened to them sharing their difficulties, and I hope I can bring something benefit to our talk today. Yeah, okay.
I think so, yeah. So we have two guests here, very experienced, not only in the amount of time that they've been working as English language professionals, but also in the variety of students that they've taught. So let's get straight into our first topic, some unique challenges from Vietnam. So we're going to talk about some challenges, and I have a poll for the audience as well. Okay, so it's short answer. You can type in anything that you like. While the audience is considering that and discussing that, can you tell us first some of the biggest challenges that you face as a teacher? So first, I want to ask Ms. Quinn, what are some of the challenges that you've faced?
Actually, for me, okay, from my experience, I have seen some of the improvement in the condition that teachers have in our teaching in our classroom. We have the use of technology, and we have access to available resources, but somehow I feel like in the classroom sometimes I still have students who are not a part of the class, right? So I think for me, engagement is the biggest problem. Right.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And how about Lam? What are some of the challenges that you feel are particularly relevant to Vietnam?
I share the same view with Miss Quinn. Miss Quinn, yeah, student motivation. Yeah,
Yes.
many students view English as a compulsory subject. I mean, the non-elite major student, and that's why they don't invest a lot of time on studying English. Yeah, they just want to pass the course.
Yes.
They
Yeah. They
don't
don't have the
want. Yeah,
motivation.
they don't
Right.
have the motivation, and I say the success of the study that is from the learner, 80% from the learner,
Yes. Yeah.
only
I agree with
20%
you.
from the teacher. But most of them, I mean, non-English major students, they don't invest time for their foreign language study. That's why they now we can result in low engagement.
I see. Yeah, that totally makes sense to me. Because I remember when I was in university, I was able to choose which language that I studied. Um, but but so many students seem like they must study, and it's not a choice that
They
they
must, yes.
have, right?
Mm.
So my motivation when I got to choose was much higher, but if I didn't have a choice, I see why it's a little bit lower. So let's take a look at what the audience has shared. I'm going to go ahead and end this poll. If you haven't finished typing, feel free to type in the chat, and let's share some of these results. And I'm going to take note of them later. Low motivation levels, lack of technological resources. Okay, for sure. And big classes with learners at different levels that can certainly have a lot to do with motivation. Let's see. May Barbie is saying, I hope Barbary, students have studied for an average of 10 years, but still struggling with engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and language ability, and that's certainly something to do with motivation and engagement as well. So thank you, audience, for sharing those. So let's talk about this first one about technology. Okay, so you mentioned, we have all of these technological resources, but
Yes.
that doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to be great and everything's going to be good. So I'd like to start with Miss Lam. You and I discussed some of the challenges that your students face. Could you share with us about those and how you've addressed those?
You mean the motivation or the technology?
Technology, please.
Okay, technology. With live coursebook, we have the online workbook. Yes, and the problem is the thing is they know about the technology. I can say that they're quite good at technology, but the problem is they are quite lazy to do
That's
online
true.
assignment. Yeah, some students they even hire English major students to complete the task for them.
Wow, that happened at your school too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
in public, in some on some fan page, we can read that they would like to hire some good student from elite major
Yeah.
to do the online. And we have to ask teacher to set the homework, the assignment every week, not the whole semester.
Mm. But still
If
they can pay money
yes,
because
right.
yeah, if they don't
Because
have
if
the
we
motivation.
yes,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Because when we set up the assignment every week, they must do the assignment at least on their own. So most of them on their own. But when we set up the assignment, the whole semester, they will ask a person to do it for them once only. Yeah. And the teacher have to report the student to the student in class every week. Yeah. And remind them those who don't finish, who haven't finished the assignment.
Wow. Okay. So that is
Yeah.
surprising to
Right.
me.
It's
Yeah. Oh,
kind of
sure.
yeah. In my school, yeah, the same thing happens, right? And yeah, we have a page for students, right,
Mm.
to exchange information and so on. And we have advertisement, for service like that. Yeah. So
Yeah, right.
Wow.
right.
Simulate my situation.
Yeah.
So as faculty members and teachers, is there anything that you're doing to approach that issue? Whether if it's I'm not sure. I don't want to like necessarily go for punishing students. I mean, it seems
Mhm.
like a breach of academic integrity, but are there any other ways that we could approach this issue of trying to pay someone else to do their homework?
Of course, the class teacher, have to check their assignment every week and check their performance in class. We should
Yeah.
spend some time before we start the new lesson to check their work again. Yeah,
Mhm.
but of course, because of the time limit, we cannot check it every day. Sometimes only to reduce uh,
I
the
see.
yes to reduce the percentage of students who would like to ask other students to complete the task for them.
Sure, yeah. So in your opinion, what do you think is a more a better way to address this challenge? Should we use technology tools that can detect cheating, or should we do a more human approach, like you've mentioned, checking it every single week and making sure, and then not giving them the assignment in advance for them to be able to cheat?
The human techniques is limited. I think we should have, how can I say, we should have the technique so that when the student register to do the task, they have to use the face recognition, something like that. That's what I think in my mind.
It's similar to the way we use the bank
Yes,
transfer or
for
whatever.
bank transfer. Yes, right.
Oh,
Because yeah, if they want to do the assignment, they have to check their face. Yeah,
mhm.
Mhm.
I
something
think
like
that's a
that.
good idea. Yeah, because teachers are very busy. If and I think class time should be used right
For language
for
practice.
yeah right for
Yeah, not
practice,
for
right,
checking their
more
assignment.
useful way, meaningful way of
Mm.
use of the class time. So
Mm.
spending time to check for that, I think
It's waste of time.
it's waste of
Yeah.
time, right? Okay, so this is something for your part to right to work on, Andrew.
Yeah, well, I can certainly suggest that, but it seems like a big build, and that kind of
Yes.
brings me to the next topic, which is technical support. So even if we did use something like face recognition or something like that, inevitably, I think that there would be challenges or problems that teachers and students face. So I want to talk now about how your institutions are supporting teachers and students who have problems with the online workbook or the online homework.
Yeah, actually, can I say something first,
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Sam? Right. Actually, we have a group, of a Zalo group, in which yeah, we right invite teachers teaching for our department to join, and we also have one person from your part for National Geographic Learning, to control that one, and then when we have problems, for example, the students cannot, use their account, or they have problems when doing assignments online. Yeah, they have to report to the teacher, and the teacher will, like raise that problem in the group. And actually, so far, I'm happy. I'm satisfied with the support provided from, yeah, from National Geographic Learning on that issue.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about Lam? What about
Yeah.
at your school? How are you supporting teachers and students?
Okay. We do have a group of Yellow. Yeah, that include teacher and an employee from Cengage. Yes, and whenever teacher have problems, they try to ask the question in the group. Yeah, and it will be shared. It will be solved by other teacher and also a technician from Cengage.
I see. Yeah. Okay. So there's kind of a collaborative way of
Yeah,
solving
that's
it,
right. Yeah, right.
and I
Between the
like.
teachers and, right, the publisher and, our
Yes,
group.
right.
Sure. So I have another question as well for the audience. Tech support responsibility. So at these two institutions, it has been the individual teachers that are supporting students, as well as help from our staff here at National Geographic Learning. But I'm curious to know if that would work at your school. Are your teachers able to provide support for students? Or should it be somebody else? Do you think it should be the job of the IT department or the vendor or the individual teacher, maybe one head teacher? I'll give you a couple of minutes to vote, and I see the results coming in. They're quite quite mixed amount of results said. So a
Mm.
lot of people say the IT department, sure, that could work. The faculty staff, so maybe someone very high at the top needs to be in charge, individual teachers, and the vendor. So I think what the audience is talking about here kind of reflects what our two guests have said as well, right? So it's a mix of the individual teacher and the vendor and some other staff. I believe, Miss Lem, you said you used to have some IT staff that supported, but then you had to switch. Can you explain why that was?
Because we think the IT department, if they don't get familiar with the assignment, it is not easy for them to solve the problem. So
Mm.
we change from the IT department to a teacher who is good at IT, an elite teacher. Yes, and he can
We did
solve.
that too. Yeah, we
Yes,
did that
okay,
too.
and he can solve that problem for the student. And now in our faculty, uh, a teacher of English who is good at IT can help to solve the problem of technical.
Yeah, actually, in my faculty, we used to have a teacher, an English teacher, to be in charge of that one, because actually we have, the department of what we say, taking care of the IT things, of the whole school. But I think this is something related to training, right? Our course is not, like the LMS, the system of the school. So yeah, we assigned a teacher to be in charge of that one, but actually because of the load of work, right? And he, yeah, he couldn't, yeah, right, continue with
Mm.
that task. And I think, and it was, yeah, very I think we had a lot of problems during that time, because yeah, uh teachers assigning things, and like getting the score reported to different classes and so on. Actually, right now, together with the support from National Geographic Learning, and
Mm.
also the collaboration of teachers, right? We also have a staff, right? Just like uh, working for the office, like helping with assigning things and so on. So I think that is the best, and so far, yeah, it works well.
Okay, when we first
Mm.
utilize, yeah, teacher, we have a lot of problems with technical, but now they get acquainted with it and they have a simple problem.
Yeah,
And
we're
every
getting
year
better
we
and
have
better.
a training workshop, yeah, with
Mm.
using live. That's why they can
Yeah,
reduce, yeah,
right. We
they
we
can,
did have that.
yeah, they
Yeah.
can tackle the problem.
That's good to hear, and I want to close off this topic just by kind of summing up what we've talked about. So IT tech issues are a problem everywhere around the world, but what we see happening specifically in Vietnam is, the requirement of the foreign language, which leads to huge numbers of students who are all studying English. That is the second or foreign language to the IT staff, who may not be able to support with certain, things about that. And when we have individual teachers supporting students, it's because of the huge number of students that it's difficult for them. So that's
Yeah.
certainly a challenge from Vietnam that's unique to Vietnam. So I thank you for sharing your perspective on that. And I like the way that you've both approached it by having sort of community of teachers that support each other. One person who's good can help the others, and you have the group where we can all discuss the problem. So that's great. I'd like to move on to our next topic as well. Um, we had talked about the looming challenge of AI in terms of English language education. So, if you have any perspective here, what are some of the challenges that your teachers face in this very new age of generative AI?
Think yeah, at first, the feeling of having something like that, like AI, looks like we feel like um we are threatened, yeah, as teacher, because AI can it's like AI can do everything,
Yes,
right?
almost everything.
Yeah. And for the students, also AI can do many things, and
Mm.
they can you know, like instead of hiring people to do things for them, they can use AI to get the answer, right? So it's kind of, you know, like what we are facing right now is, you know, how to make use of AI meaningfully and to, you know, like to make the student work with the help of AI in, you know, like a healthy way, right?
Yes.
So AI, you know, yeah, later and later, right? I feel like AI can do many things for us, right? Actually, for, you know, it can make our lesson more interesting in, you know, certain ways. But then, you know, like the wow, the concern about students' work and the integrity, yeah, what we say, the truth, the worthiness of what they show us, you know, about their performance should be, you know, the right one, the accurate one. Yeah.
Sure. And did you have any perspective on that, Lam?
We cannot deny the advantages of AI, but the thing is we have to tell the student to teach student how to make
Yeah,
use
how
of
to.
how to make use the advantage of AI to support their study, not
Yeah.
only in English language but other subjects. Yeah. So before they use AI, they have to be active and to depend on themselves first, and
Yes.
then they can rely on AI later. But the first thing they have to do is don't depend too much on AI, depend on themselves.
Okay, yeah, I like that idea. So kind of build up your skills first, and then you can use a tool. It's like
Yeah.
you need to learn to do math
Yes.
first, and then you can use the calculator on the exam.
That's correct.
Yeah. So what are some of the ways that you kind of do that to build up their confidence and their independence first before they go to using AI?
It's difficult, right? It's
Hmm.
difficult. It's very challenging. And I think a part of it may be, yeah, the regulation, or maybe, you know, like you as an example, showing them how to make use, right, of AI. Yeah. Okay. So that they can learn something, right? It's not cheating. Yeah. I think, but still, we are still working on it, right?
Mm,
I think right now, for me, the best way is to talk to them, to share with them, and raise their awareness of, you know, the result, right? Or the,
mm.
yeah, if they keep yeah, using AI, for when they take the test, they don't have, you know,
AI,
electronic,
yes,
yeah,
right.
devices
Mhm.
with them, right? Yeah, there's a score, you know, it can be affected, right? So I think talking, sharing, you know, like keep trying. But right now, you know, for me, yeah, to tell the truth, I have no absolute, solution for that one. What about you,
Sure.
Lam?
It is very challenging, not
Very
easy. Yeah,
challenging.
of course we have to raise awareness from students, but
Yes.
maybe they don't listen to us. Yeah, they would like to spend their time doing something different. Yeah, and that's why they depend a lot on
Yeah.
AI, and
Right.
the result, their study result will be affected.
Yeah, right. Actually, I've been to different workshops talking about, you know, like how we can personalize our, what you say, our instruction, right?
Mm.
So that they cannot use AI to cheat. But then, yeah, it's not easy to do that too, right? It's not easy to do that
Not easy.
either. So this
Yeah.
is kind of,
Yeah.
right. Uh, for now, I think so. Some schools and some department have, you know, changed the way they give assignment, right? They, you know, ask the student to do uh, exercises, assignments in class, right? Yeah, writing, right, and so on.
Sure.
But yeah, yeah, I'm also concerned about, you know, the way, right, people do things. Sometimes, you know, at home for different papers, we need technology to support, for
Mm.
example, to get, you know, references and yeah, citation and so on. So we still you know, like trying, but haven't found, you know, like a solution for that. Yeah.
Sure. I totally understand that it can be challenging. I'd like to share a piece of research that I came across. This is a paper called the Artificial Intelligence Assessment Scale, a framework for using AI and assessing it fairly in class, right? This is by Mike Perkins. He's at the British University in Vietnam, as well as a bunch of other authors as well. I've been reading a lot about his work and his research on this, and he proposes in this paper, different ways of tasks of scaling it. So sometimes we can say that you are not allowed to use AI. Maybe that's a pencil and paper test,
Mm.
all the way down to where maybe you use AI to generate some ideas to help students brainstorm, just to get the ideas flowing, to make
Mm-hmm.
it easier. And then all the way to say you can use AI to do the task for you, just in the same way that I use a calculator to do my accounting. I don't need to separate where I've said I've used a calculator here and I've used just my brain and my arithmetic in another place. So I've shared a link to this article in the chat box. I encourage everyone in the chat to check that out. Thinking about that, though, I'd like to see if we could, how we would approach an English language learning task, knowing that our students have AI. So this is from Life Third Edition, the pre-intermediate edition.
Coming
Sorry,
soon, right?
pre-intermediate level, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, an argument for technology, and it's a writing lesson, and how we might use AI or not use AI. So in your perspective, would you want your students to utilize AI in any way for something like this?
Why not?
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can encourage
Interesting.
students to utilize the technology. Yeah, but of course, as I said, I mentioned earlier, they have to rely on themselves first, and they can make use the support from AI, from
Sure.
technology. Yeah,
So
or
if
maybe
let's
after they finish their work, they can check again from technology. They can use technology to check their work.
Right, I think this one that may have been like AI assisted editing. So perhaps they
Mm.
write their message first and then they could use uh,
Yes.
a
Yes.
tool to help check their spelling or their grammar
Mm.
errors. That's certainly, something that a word processor can do right now, and we don't consider that to be cheating as well. Here is maybe they have to choose one of these technological items and write a paragraph about it.
Mm.
So they might maybe then use AI to generate some ideas about why these things are good or something like that. If you were to use that approach, do you think that, I mean, how could we ensure that the students learn? So if I say to AI, give me a list of reasons that mobile phones are good, how can I ensure that the students know that those are good reasons and not just copy it down? What do you have any perspective on that?
I think what we can do is, you know, to allow them sometime, you know, to use AI to, you know, to right brainstorm ideas, and maybe you put them into groups, students into groups, and yeah, right. At that time, you know, they have to discuss, they have to use their critical thinking skills to right, you know, to stand for their position, right? So yeah, that's what I have about this.
So I think, yeah, by discussing it with each other, and then they have to maybe, weigh each of these reasons. Okay, so why are mobile phones good? Because you can be contacted anywhere you go. But then they discuss with a partner and say, actually, that's not really a great thing. I don't
Yeah.
want to be contacted all the time. Great. So I like that perspective as well. Just one last poll I think I have for the audience. What do you think, as a teacher or a faculty member in the audience, should AI be allowed in English language writing assignments? Right, so let's take a look at these results. I've shared the results. Can you see them? So kind of polarizing results here, right? So 15% say yes, definitely. And 19% say no, it should be banned. And I think, if I might have answered no probably 6 months ago. But after thinking about it and reading about it over some time, I think I'm in this sometimes camp with the majority of the respondents here. Okay, so that's great. I know we could talk about AI all day, but we need to go on about Vietnam's unique challenges. So I'll just wrap that up by saying, if we know this kind of maybe not culture, climate, a student climate of always, having other people complete your work for you and paying them to do your homework, that's a very smooth descent smooth the descent uh, to getting AI to do things for you. So we may face that challenge at a particularly high level here in Vietnam. And our audience member, sorry, my site is so small, I can't see your name, Ernaida, saying, yeah, sometimes, but there should be guidelines to using AI as well. So definitely check out that paper that I've sent a link to. I want to move on to the next topic, which is about student engagement. So that's what we've all been talking about, and a lot of teachers say that as well. How do I get my students engaged and things like that? So, what are some ways that your staff and your teachers are approaching this problem challenge of student engagement?
In order to make student engagement, it's not easy, especially in big class size. Yeah, with about 50 students, it is quite challenging. And with smaller number of students, 30 students, we can do it quite easily. For example, at the beginning of the lesson, we can brainstorm some activities so that everyone can get involved, or we can develop a pair work or group work activity, and the teacher is the facilitator and the monitor. The teacher have to walk around the classroom to participate in some group and can help them if they have any questions. And at the end of the time for them to do the pair work or group work, we invite them to report, to present in group or in pair in front of the class so that everyone can participate in the activity.
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Lam. Yeah, okay. Group work and pair work is always, the advice that that help the student to engage in the lesson. But I would like to add something. For example, in my case, we know that the students sometimes they are not engaged because they don't like the topic, or maybe because it's the task that they don't like, right? So
Sure.
knowing about the students' preferences is important, right? It's important. And from that one, you can modify, the topic, you can modify the task, or you can even bring something, like authentic from outside, right, into the classroom, make the class more interesting, more attractive. And nowadays, I think with technology, right, sure, we can do this. We can do this one. But right. But still, saying that, I still think, all right. So we have tried many things, right? But why there are students who are not involved, who don't want to involve, right? To be involved in the classroom or the activity. So maybe, we go back to what Dr. Lam suggested at the beginning, motivation, right?
Yes, right.
Motivation, right? So we have to find, if you want a student to be engaged, right, you have to know something about the learners, about the students, and then try to work on motivation, all right? So when they like, when they want to learn, when they like to learn, when they feel like, yeah, the class is beneficial, it's meaningful, so they will join. Yeah. Oh, actually, but it's still, a challenge, because
Very challenging.
the big class is difficult for us to know everyone, right? Okay.
And we do not only teach one class.
Yes, many
Yeah.
classes. Yeah,
That is the
right. So
problem
it's
of
kind
all the Vietnamese teacher of English.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I have just one question then. So we want to address topics and things that are interesting to our students. So I want to look at a page here and let's see if you think that just the topic alone would be interesting to students. So this is from elementary third edition, unit 4 from Life. And let me bring up this this lesson, page 46. Oh, I've been sharing that screen the whole time. Okay, so this is maybe a reading lesson, and it's talking about what people do in their free time, particularly with the concept of twins, right? So if twins are supposed to look alike, does that mean that they are the same? And let's explore that idea by looking at how twins act and do they do the same thing? So just in your opinion, is this topic interesting to your students? And if not, what are some of the ways that you maybe adapt it or approach it to be more interesting or relevant and engaging for them?
May I ask if the kids, right, and the fowls, are they popular among young people?
That's yeah, that's kind of an interesting question. In the third edition, these two are the Phelps twins. If you're familiar with the Harry Potter movies, they played some characters in those movies. Used to be some other twins that were not celebrities or not famous. So that's one of the updates. But you're right, maybe these are not recognizable to our students. In that case, then what's an approach that a teacher could do?
Start the lesson by, maybe asking the student question about the experience with, like twins. Oh, so is there anyone in the class, right, who
Our twin in the family.
yeah, twin brothers, twin sister, and so on, right? So what we can do is to relate, the topic to the students, experience, so they have something, right, they can share, and they would like to know more, right? Yeah. So we raise the awareness of, like, yeah, do you want to know more about twins, like in another culture, like, yeah, here with the, many names here, and so on. So yeah, if I have to teach this lesson, right, right, I would do that. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I really like that approach of just starting with the students themselves and connecting to the topic and then exploring this a little bit
Yes.
more in depth, right? If we just say open up and read, it's maybe not going to be interesting, right? Or maybe not that super relevant to them. All right, so I mean, again, we could talk for an hour about how to engage students and things like that. I'd like to move on to our next topic. Let's just see what the chat said. All right, so actually, let's take a look at this because I think it's again related to Vietnam's unique context, right? So there's not many Vietnamese students who pay their interest in international celebrities, but instead with Vietnamese celebrities. So it may have felt unfamiliar. So that's certainly true. Um, I think the challenge for maybe a materials publisher is like we cannot include a
Yeah, that's
celebrity
true.
from every single country. So
Yeah.
it comes down to the skill of the teacher to say, how can I make this related to my students and
Yes,
relevant to my students? For sure, yeah. And then it's not about the topic, it's about approaches that teachers are using to introduce the
that's true.
topic.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
quite agree with this idea.
I like
Yeah.
that idea.
Yeah, so that's exactly what our two guests have just said. So how can I get them interested and related to the topic before we dive in to practice our reading comprehension skills? So fantastic. The last topic, we have just about maybe 5 minutes, is about life after graduation. So it's really great to learn English in the classroom and read books and stuff like that. But I want to talk about, something that would the purpose of university and education to prepare students for real life. So how do you know what to teach students if you're going to prepare them for a job or to communicate in the real world in English? How do you know what to teach them? Other than just what's in the table of contents of the book? What are some things that you teach them and how do you know?
Okay. In some classes with good student and with small number of students, at the beginning of the course, I assign them a task-based project. Yeah, and I ask them to go out of the classroom to interview foreigner, any foreigner, not only English speaking people. Yeah, and to complete the survey and report to the class the following week. Yeah, by that way, they can use English outside the classroom. And luckily, in my city, we have a lot of foreigner for them to use the English language. Yeah.
We can ask the students, right, what they would like to do, right, with English, right? Yeah. But it's just like when we designed a course, right? We have to get information about the students, the learners' needs, right? So, and I think, at the beginning of a course, right, the teacher, right? The teacher and the student should have some discussion, some kind of like work on motivation, for example, to show the needs, for learning. And then they will tell you, right, maybe, what they want to do in the future with English, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's what teachers, I think, can easily do, right? Okay.
Sure. So it's about getting to know your students and what they like and preparing them to communicate. So the
Yes.
two really good topics I like were from Lem. You said speak to a foreigner. It doesn't have to be an English speaking one. You just meet them, and I really like
Yes.
that idea because it's kind of
Any foreigner. Yeah. But they have
branching
to
out.
use English. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they say they have to speak English.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because we use English in the global, not only with English speaker.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Sure. And the last question I have is at the institutional level, is there anything that your universities are doing to get students, real life job experience or things like that? Maybe not even in your department, but just at your institution, at your university. Do they have opportunities to go and experience things like that?
We have the event in my school, in my university. We have event, a lot of event, and students can participate. They get sport, uh, of course not in the conference, but outside the conference, around the conference. They can sport to do some kind of work, and also before the conference, they have to get familiar with some document, and they can use some document for their later on.
And
Mm-hmm.
right. At my university, we have certain subjects, like delivered in English.
Mm.
So yeah, sooner or later,
Okay.
right? They would say they have to use English. Right. Yeah. Yeah. At first to study. And then
So you mean the third year or the fourth year
yeah,
of
first
their
year,
course?
fourth year, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah,
After they
depends on
learn
the
English
kind,
and the
the
basic,
kind of program
yeah.
they have to learn some subjects in English. And I think it
Mm.
is a part of quality assurance check, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, we also have like for my department, for my faculty, right? We organize trips to other country. Like recently, we made a trip to Thailand, and we invite
Yes.
students, right, from different faculties to join. Yeah, right. And yeah, they can experience, they can use their English, and they see how people around the world use English, right, to communicate. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm so happy to hear about all of the things that that your institutions are doing to help students, not just in the classroom. So yeah, we study with books in the classroom, and that's great. That's fantastic. But the real life lived experience of going to another country and using your English skill is interesting as well. So I have just one last question for the audience. What do you think is the most important thing for students to be prepared for the real world? And as you're voting on that, I just want to kind of sum up everything. Actually, I'll do that last. I want to go back and look at some things I may have missed from the chat. So let's see. Evaluating the teachers approach employed by the teachers is also essential. Okay, so Ernaida May asked that. May I ask our guests here, Lam and Quinn, how do you carry out evaluating teachers at your university? Is it quarterly, observations or reports? How do you evaluate the teaching approaches? Oh, I think you're
Can I say
mute.
first?
Sure.
All right. Actually, at my school, all right, towards the end of each semester, we have, kind of evaluation, the feedback from the students about the
Yes, right.
teaching of the teachers. And also, we encourage the teachers to observe each other's
Yes.
classes to give feedback for improvement. And especially for my department, yeah, we observe teachers, right? Yeah, for example, one academic year we observe one semester, for example.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So I think with different ways to evaluate the teachers like that, right, we somehow can ensure the quality, right, yeah, of the teaching staff. And also we we offer training courses, workshops, and so on, right, to go with. It's not just not with evaluation, with feedback, but we have to uh, identify the parts that the teachers need to improve in order to give them opportunities to work on it. Okay, so yeah, and every just like every year at my school, at my university, right, we have open TESOL, right, a very international TESOL conference. Yeah, this year we will have open TESOL 2025 on the 23rd and 24th of May, right? So 20, yeah. So
Okay.
right, I think it's a kind opportunities for people to share, right? Yeah, to think, to look back, at their teaching, right? Then improve, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
we do the same as yours, Miss Queen. Yeah. And I remember I participated your TESOL in
Oh, it's
2020,
our honor.
23. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you coming this next event, right?
Next event, yeah.
2025?
Yeah, maybe. I
Yeah.
have a two in 2025. I have a two TESOL in
Yeah.
2025. Yeah.
So what
Great.
is the time for your
The first that
conference?
it, no, no, the first conference that it come TESOL in February.
In February,
Yeah.
Camtiso.
And
Yeah.
another one in Taiwan that is in April. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So, yeah, so it's getting very close to our end time. I just want to sum up what we've just discussed there. So, in terms of evaluating teachers, you do the things at the end of the month. So, observations not only of the maybe the dean or someone in charge observing them, but also teachers observing each
Yes.
other,
Yeah.
which is really great for creating a community of practice, right? So that they don't have to, it's not like we expect you to know everything. We want you to learn from from each other as well, right? Great. And then let's sum up everything that we've discussed so far in Vietnam's unique challenges, as well as how universities and institutions in Vietnam are approaching them. So the first one was about technology. Um, they're using, so our two guests here are using the teachers as a source of supporting students. Those teachers support each other, as well as getting some support from us, the publisher, to carry out some of these technological tasks or tasks using technology. One surprising thing that I heard for the first time today was students paying other students to do their homework for them.
Yeah.
And that leads us to another unique challenge in Vietnam, where if that is a normal thing to do, it becomes normal maybe to see AI as just doing something for you rather than doing it yourself. And our two guests are really focused on building up students' ability and their confidence in themselves so that they can do it first, and then utilize AI as an assistant rather than as just having AI do it for them. The next thing we talked about was engagement. And of course, with class sizes that are this large, we have to do, a lot of pair work, group work, get the students to know each other, build relationships with the students among teachers, and also, asking them, what are the things that you're interested in? So if I need to find some way to help you relate to international celebrities, I can do that because I know my students. And then finally, in terms of preparing students for the real world outside of school after graduation, both of these institutions run a lot of activities and extracurricular activities for students. So I would 100% agree with that. Doing things outside of the classroom is going to give students real experience, that they will, real experience with things that they can do in their professional lives outside of the classroom. So I want to thank our two guests so much. Thanks very much. It's just 4 p.m. right now. I'm going to end the poll and just quickly share the results. We got 30 seconds left. And it looks here like maybe earning their degree, high job skills training, having a part-time job. These are the things that are echoed in the kind of sentiments that you said. So doing activities outside of class, but also doing things in the classroom. I'm a little bit out of breath, as it happens after 1 hour. So
um, what we said, was from our experience, and also, right, from what we are doing, right? And I hope, like it give you some ideas so that you can right, do it better, right? Yeah, uh, at your place, at your context, right? Yeah. Okay.
fantastic. And just while we've done that, I've put some links in the chat, including the link to the AI assessment scale by Mike Perkins, as well as a position paper on multiple literacies and a link to Life Third Edition page if you want to learn more about that. And finally, I'll let Ms. Lam say goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for joining the Edu Voice. Yeah, I hope to see you again somewhere in Vietnam or in the world.
Absolutely. Thanks very much. We'll be sharing a recording of this with all attendees. So you keep an eye on your mailbox then. So thank you very much to all the guests and the
Yeah.
attendees.
It's
Have
our
an
pleasure.
excellent.
Right.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Our pleasure.
Bye,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Goodbye.